It's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you are at work, in the car, or wherever you are, we hope you enjoy this show about the great sport of geocaching. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can be part of the adventure tonight in the chat room and participate with others as they watch the show. If you are listening later, please give it a like and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app so that you can get all of the weekly Geocache Talk goodness.
All right. Big thanks to the Trail Bugs for the music and our featured patrons, Demon Hunter 2, Electric Water Boy. What do you know?
That's that dude right there.
That's that guy right there on the show there. Aggie Jedi Master, Antaeus, Joshua the Geocaching Vlogger, Nick at Cashly, One Kind Word, Butterfly Girl, Loon Trackers, the Aussie Geocacher, and our new patrons, Kitty Catch, Finlay and his Drudge, Seabeck Tribe, Shark Sea, Curious KDB, Gene Hunter, the Caching Jeeper, Fam Gustafson, BMars 7391, Speed City, and as I mentioned last week, welcome back, Curiosity Girl. If you'd like to become a patron, head on over to Patreon, patreon.com/geocache talk for more details. Patrons get the new blackout coin. Blackout. Oh, there we look. We get. Well, you got backward. Hey, that works. Oh, that's pretty slick. Yeah, it's not green. It's not black on the. Yeah, it's kind of green on the back. No, you're right.
Right there.
Good job. Yes.
Did I cover that right? I think I did.
Sweet. Yeah, you covered it.
I'm sure I've shown that at one time or another anyway. So.
Probably so.
I should probably hold out there the whole show and block my face.
No. We can't do that.
Hey, you know what? If it's coin, I'll share it how I want to.
Other geocaching items during the year, well as bonus content, invites to special events only for patrons, and we've got one going on right now, and it's fascinating. I don't know if you guys have seen the leaderboard.
Yeah, it's interesting what's happening right now.
I don't know if Owen from KC is in the chat room yet, but I'm gonna talk about Owen from KC.
Have you seen it today?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Support level start at as little as Bison Tube level, which is $3 a month. Well, let me welcome my host, Jesse.
Good evening.
And we're going to jump right into show 165 as we welcome the current president of the TXGA, one of the crazy eights responsible for Geo Woodstock 17 in Fort Worth, Texas. He, along with his lovely wife, Crazy for Cats, are Texas County Challenge finisher number 67, Electric Water Boy.
Yeah, she's 66.
Is she? She got her own?
She got her own.
Oh, man. That's sweet.
Even though I started before her, I let her go
You let
first.
her be a little bit ahead.
Smart man.
Yeah. But Tom, welcome back to Geocache Talk.
Thank you, sir.
Glad to have you back. You're kind of a little bit like Joshua. You've been on several times now.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we talked about last week, and I went and looked it up. Should have done it before. Maybe should. Nah, I don't know if I should beforehand or not. But how many guest appearances somebody had on the Johnny Carson show? That's old school. That's for us old school folk. Yes.
Ooh.
And it's interesting because there is guests and there's guest hosts. Because Joey Bishop has the most guest, like he hosted it as a guest more than anybody else. If anybody knows, Joey Bishop was part of the Rat Pack. So there Owen from KC, he is in the chat room. We're going to talk about.
There he is.
But somebody mentioned in the chat room last week, or I think it was in the chat room, that it was Bob Hope, and sure enough, it was Bob Hope appeared. Let me get my notes. Bob Hope, most frequent guest on the Tonight Show during the Johnny Carson days. He was on 131 times. The guest host with the most was Joey Bishop, that I mentioned, 177 times. Obviously, mostly in the 1960s. Cash, our blog manager, does such a fabulous job. We thank you so much, Angie, for doing that. It means a lot, and it really gives a lot of benefit. It's part of the network, and it really enhances Geocache Talk to have all these various avenues of entertainment and providing you guys with all sorts of resources. And one of them was, of course, our blog. And one of the new blog posts is out. Gouda or Gota, if you read it. It was done by Little Sprinkles, and
I read that one.
It was a fun blog. So
Think how boring it would be if it was just me and Gary every week writing the same blog. That would not be good. Much better to hear everybody else's voice. You already hear our voices, right?
Right.
Much better to hear a good swath of the community in there.
Yeah. So check out that blog. That was a fun entry there. All right. Okay. So we finished up our summertime video promotion, and we gave away. What's that?
Did I win?
No, you did not.
You did. You're on the show and you're ineligible tonight. So
I'm very sorry. You were not part of the randomized selections there, but two people were. We gave away 2 coins.
Mhm.
And ironically, I gave them some choices, and I gave away a silver one of these GPS maze, and I gave away a silver one. I gave them their choices because I got some extras.
Yeah, those are some cool coins too.
One person wanted, yeah, I know, isn't that great? I love that coin, and the back of it.
That's one of the first coins I've bought in quite a while.
It is sweet, man. It's got the GPS maze.
Yeah, that's the Texas one.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then this one is the US one. So, whoop, yeah.
Yep.
I blocked it.
Yeah.
So anyway, so these
It'd be all right.
so the winners were Nicole
Mm-hmm.
and Geovet 91. So they both were
Cool.
winners. So
Very
these will
good
go out
ratings.
tomorrow. So congratulations to those two. And thank you everybody for participating. Our guesses ranged from like 10 to
Thank you.
to like 400 or something.
Hey, you might as well guess, right?
Every word, I guess.
I watched the thing twice. I counted the number of times you said summer, so I thought
I know.
Hey, those are summer references. That's right.
Hey, they're all in there. So, but anyway, so those are 2 winners. So,
So I
thank
think
you
it's
again.
interesting to, before we move on past that, kind of tell why we did that platform we did. It was different platform, and see what people think of it, right? So the that was a new feature on YouTube where you can pre-plan a video, but then we can go on live when it comes, set it up for a certain time, and then we can all meet in the chat room and do it. So we don't know exactly what application that could be yet for this show, but we want to try it out for that one, and give away stuff while we're doing it. But I'd be curious to see if anybody thought that was fun, or if, can come up with some good ideas, or, we got to be creative, right? We can't do the same thing again. So we have to do something different when we do it next time. So most creative idea, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, definitely. Send us an email, geocachetalk@gmail.com. Give us some ideas. I like the premiere is a YouTube premiere. It works kind of neat. It lets you kind of UDAC, man, I was over. Yeah. We had everybody guess, even with our group, and we kind of came to a consensus that it was something around 30 if you added in all the.
Depends on how vague the references were.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there was obviously some. I mean,
so did all the fruit stuff count?
Yeah, fruit's a summer thing.
Okay.
Joe Mauer, he plays baseball. Baseball is a summer pastime, so that accounted. I mentioned 4th of July. That's summer. Jeff mentioned the solstice. I think the summer solstice.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it was fun. We might do another one maybe around wintertime, although we're going to be busy with getting ready for Podcast to Hope, and obviously everybody has beach. Yeah, see, Derek's in the chat room. He mentioned beach.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's good. Mosquito. You mentioned mosquito. That's another one. All right, good deal. That was fun. Appreciate everybody, and hopefully everybody enjoyed that. Jesse's adding the news. Go ahead.
If anybody hasn't seen it, they're doing a Ninja Turtle trackable promotion right now.
Yeah.
It's on your profile, and you may still be able to. I haven't checked it today, but you may still be able to sign up to get in the drawing to get one. For some of us, Ninja Turtles are cool. For other ones, they're not. So I don't know if you want another promote. I always sign up for every single one. If I don't like it when it gets here, I'll give it away. So
yeah,
you got to automatically sign up for it, right? I don't know why you wouldn't, to get a free trackable.
Does it come with a coupon for a pizza?
It should.
It's a good idea. I like that.
And then we need to, before we get started, we have to do a leaderboard update because I'm just amazed by this thing.
Yeah, let me share my screen on that, and we'll do we'll show the leaderboard. It is interesting how it's going. That's for sure.
Well, I just, I'm still curious to see what kind of comments we get in, because some people got amazing totals on there, but that may just be their normal style of caching anyway.
Right. I get past.
You have to get, like, when I saw somebody first get 1,000 points, I thought that was impressive. And now I think the top. I'm trying to see who you have to go down to about 75 to get under 1,000 points.
Yeah.
And the top, like 25 have 5,000 points, And
Yep.
the top 10 all have over 10,000 points.
Over 10,000.
And, the Twonky did that amazing, and he told everybody he was going to do it. He did that amazing, couple-week trip, and it looked like he was going to run away with everything. But Owen from KC is quickly closing on him. And we still have all of the rest
All
of
September.
all of October.
All of October. You're right. Yeah, Owen from KC is quickly catching up. He is 10,000 points? Something about that much.
Yeah,
58, 895, 41. So 17,000, which
Yeah.
sounds like a lot, but
1750. So it's possible that somebody could get 100,000 points on this thing.
yeah, because we've only started in August, so all of August was, yeah.
I'm going to get my biggest boost around going caching. I'm going to go out a couple days early and get me some caches and get me some points.
Eric's around 740. Oh, we mentioned Memphis where I goes. That was the key, apparently.
Yeah, I didn't put out that trail knowing this was going to happen, but if I knew this was going to happen, I would have finished that trail before this thing started, because that definitely sways it. Power Trail of Where I Goes definitely sways it a little bit.
Oh, D's in the either D or David. Team D and D are in there. I guess that's
Yeah,
D.
over 15,000 points.
She's still in sixth.
Yeah, they are for now. As of this second, they're in sixth. That changes a lot there. At the top 10 changes a lot.
It's
What I'm interested to see is when we get to the end, everybody's comments, we get them to HQ, see what everybody thought about it, improvements, good and bad.
right.
And then if they give us the stats at the end, if we can really crunch the data and see how accurate their, algorithm in the back, if we can get a few people at the very end that are good about keeping up with exactly what they did for this time, we can compare that to what the points are supposed to be and see how accurate that is. I wouldn't expect it to be 100% accurate because we know there were some bugs in the beginning, but it'll be a good test for headquarters to really find out how this actually played out in a live test. So
Right.
that's going to be pretty interesting. Plus, it's been fun to see that on the Geocache Talk Challenge, and that's been fun to see on our actual profile and stuff. And
D writes that. D writes, where was it? They're scrolling pretty quick, but she says that David's determined to be in the top 10, and Albedo 0.39 says he's determined to stay in the top 100. That's good.
I'm going to go out.
I'm hoping to finish in the top 20.
I'm going to go out 31st and do the ET Power Trail just to make everybody mad.
Yeah. When's the last day? I think they told us it's October 31st, right?
Yeah, that's what they said. So
Yep. So it's interesting because I wonder if people are going to do. Hopefully, they're not doing what Terravita is saying, or are they waiting for the last second trying to record? I mean, that's kind of raw. I wouldn't want to. I don't want people to do that.
no, there's no point in that. There's no money prize here.
No. Bert Turtle's saying he's around 15th. That's good. Yeah, that's fun. All right. Yep. Good stuff.
No,
Cool.
it's been a lot of fun to see people doing it. I hope it inspired some people to do something a little different and have fun with it. So
Yep. Seabeck Tribe is going to do the Cash, Dash, and Splash event. That sounds like fun.
that's cool.
Very fun. Yeah. Very cool.
I'm inspired to learn what poison ivy looks like again before I go caching with David again.
Just one more time. Come on. Exactly.
Yeah, I
Here's
got
a question by UDAC.
I don't think they can.
See, I thought they could. They were going to be able to, but it sounds like they can't.
Yeah. Because if we send them a link, I think if you send them the actual link, I think what it does is when you click on it, it goes to their leaderboard. So they can't see our leaderboard.
No, are you sure they can't?
I'm pretty sure. I mean,
Somebody test that. Somebody get the link and send it to somebody that's not a patron. Send it to somebody else and see if they can look at it.
I'll put it in the chat room.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the person that's in the chat room replies, and we can all jump on them and say, "How come you're not a patron?"
That was a big trick. We got them all.
Tricky, huh? Yeah. See, if you put in geocaching.com/play/leaderboard /7, it should bring that up. So whatever.
Okay, so I guess we got to talk about puzzles, huh?
Puzzling puzzles.
Puzzles.
Yeah, we're going to talk about puzzles. Now, this is going to be interesting tonight because I want to start off and ask you guys some questions about. We actually had some good discussion before the show.
Yeah.
Should have recorded that somehow because it was a really good discussion. But needless to say, this is interesting. Tom, you brought up a very good topic to the opening topic for tonight, which I think is fascinating. And that is, most people think of, when they think of puzzle caches, they think of this, right?
That and that alone.
That and that alone. That is mystery. And everybody goes, oh, puzzle cache.
I thought that was a challenge cache.
Exactly. Mystery caches, obviously, if you look at it 9 times out of 10, it's either a challenge or it is a puzzle, which can also be very challenging, but that's not a challenge, but you get the idea. What about this?
Definitely can be.
It can be. And I think we forget that we can make a multi-cache into a creative and fun puzzle. And I'm going to emphasize creative and fun tonight. You'll hear that quite a few times tonight. So, have you guys ever made a multi-cache made a puzzle cache out of a multi-cache?
So are you saying multiple stages on a multi-cache or puzzles on a multi?
Good question. So
I'm confused already. I need
right.
to pay attention to the show.
So Tom, kind of explain what we mean by a puzzle cache being also a multi-cache, if you would, sir.
So you've probably gone to one where the first stage takes you to a sign or something, and you've got to answer questions from the sign to get to the second stage.
Mm-hmm.
That's a puzzle.
Yeah.
You had to figure something out. It wasn't, here's the coordinates and keep going.
Right. So but also in theory, you could make, you could take, and we're not going to talk about field puzzles tonight because we've only got an hour show. So
that's for another show.
That's for another show. That's for another show. It's for another show. That's for another show. And no, that mug's not huge, William. It's my little Geo Woodstock one.
It's a mega mug.
It's a mega mug. Hey, you go to Megas, you get some of the best swag in the world, baby. And this is a great swag. I love this. I love the mugs that you guys provide. Those are root beer mugs.
And that's what I'm drinking tonight, the root beer that came in those mugs.
No, that's right. How did y'all get that home? I mean, did you bring a keg home of root beer?
No, last weekend I was up there. So
I know.
We bought, Cheryl bought 2 growlers of it. And
okay. So they sell in growlers. Okay.
Yeah, we can buy growlers. And when we were there, the group we were with, we probably bought close to $500 worth of root beer.
That's awesome.
And, and one beer.
One beer, yep. So, for people who don't know what we're talking about, what's it called? Legal Draft? Where was it?
Legal Draft Brewery in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they make a really good root beer too.
Boy, they do, man. I started with a beer but I quickly switched to the root beer because I would just, oh my gosh, that root beer was so great. Derek was right. It was some good root beer. And I got hung up on that and basically just drank the root beer because you got free refills. So I was swimming in root beer that night. So
I think I drank more root beer that weekend than I have in the previous 5 years.
Yeah.
Combined easily.
Right. Yeah,
I can get their beer here. So when we go up there, the growlers are getting filled with root beer.
With root beer, absolutely.
Because I can't get that here.
exactly. All right, back to our topic.
Rabbit hole. Go back.
Okay, yeah, we got sidetracked. That's good. That was a good sidetrack, though. So I think though that I think there's possibilities
Hmm.
to add some creativity other than what maybe people, because I don't know about you, but you guys, but for multi-caches, my initial thought, and I've found some really cool multi-caches, and that's actually something we could do for another show as well. But, and that is, that made you drink. And that is, you go to stage one, you look, you find something. Usually it's just a pill bottle. You open it up, it's got cords in it. You put it back. You go to the next stage. You find cords. You put it back. You go to the next one. You go to the final typically, and that's it. I have found some creative multi-caches where it was a little trickier to find the cords. They were like hidden on a washer
Hmm.
on the back of a sign, and it was etched. Somebody etched it into the washer, so you could see it, but it was harder to find.
Right. That's less of a puzzle and just more of like I don't know, just a stage, right?
Yeah, it's just a stage, but
An evil stage at that.
yeah,
An evil stage, yeah.
exactly.
So you're
But-
thinking more like when you go there and it's a virtual stage. So you're gathering information to help figure it out. I mean, that's a puzzle element definitely on a multi-cache.
Right. You could also maybe have at that stage information where you force people to go, and people hate this too sometimes because it'd be like a smart cache or you used to use your smartphone. And so,
How else would you cache?
or I don't know how people cache without it, but anyway, you'd have to you'd have to minimize your Cachly app, and then you would go to, or your, insert your favorite
Your favorite app.
whatever it happens to be, and then you could have them go to the website and work on it. I wouldn't say a field puzzle, but it's something you have to figure out while you're there.
Yeah. I'd say it's a field puzzle if you have to figure it out in the field.
Yeah.
You can't do it at home, right? The typical puzzle is you sit at home on your computer and figure them out.
Right. What about doing something with this?
I mean, the best cache type ever. Obviously, for the audio listeners, we're looking at the best cache type ever, the Where I Go.
So the Where I Go. So is there a way to put lipstick on this pig and make it worthwhile to do? I'm kidding.
You mean the cache type that can do what every other cache type can do? Yeah, I believe there is. I mean, I think most good Where I Goes are going to have some puzzle element to them.
Yeah. See,
There's something you're figuring out, or
yeah.
There's some element to it. So I think puzzles are definitely a big part of Where I Go as well.
So one I was going to talk about before the show, and I didn't bring it up to you, Jesse. There's one here in San Antonio. It's I can't remember the name. Something about art, but for each stage of that Where I Go, it would bring up a piece of art, a picture of it, whatever, and the mirror image of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to figure out which one was the right picture.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, if I put up the Mona Lisa and a mirror image of it, could you know which one's the right one? Just looking at it?
Looking to the left.
Ooh, I don't know. That's cool. That's a neat idea.
Yeah, but if you don't know art, you wouldn't know that.
So you'd have to Google it or something.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I think you have to add a good puzzle element if you're going to make a good Where I Go. I mean, there are stories you can do and everything else, but if,
Mm-hmm.
obviously that's a bold, a broad statement, but I think puzzle elements are definitely part of the Where I Go for sure.
Right. Unless you're doing like maybe a reverse Where I Go, which is more of a.
Don't get me started on that.
It's an adventure. I love reverse Where I Goes because
I love it. It's like playing Battleship.
it is.
I like it, but
It's a miss.
this is for a different show. But
Yes.
there's some elements you can add to a reverse Where I Go really quickly to make them a lot better.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, we got to talk about that
That's
one.
another show. Let's don't get sidetracked on that. Because
Okay. All right. Let me ask you boys about this one. I got a couple more. I got one more. What about that?
Adventure Lab.
Definite.
I think they, by design, are all puzzles, really.
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking about before the show, and I thought we're going to have people that are listening, either are with us tonight or Terviers. I don't like 100 of them. Yeah, you found 100 of them, so there you go. That's if you've ever found a puzzle cache, and it really, in a sense, you have found. If you ever found a lab cache, you found a puzzle cache. That's what I'm trying to say. Because you tend to be finding. I mean, really, that's in essence what a lab cache is a puzzle, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're talking about is puzzles and everything, right? There's puzzles. So everything we've named so far really has a puzzle element to it.
Yeah.
I think outside of a traditional, which we talked about kind of at the beginning, but every other one definitely has a puzzle element to it, and you'd almost expect that element to be there.
Right. Now, let me ask you guys about traditionals, and this is where we kind of got into a discussion prior to starting the show is, can you, or let me say this differently, should you create a puzzle cache out of with a traditional type? Can you?
No.
Yes, you can. Jesse,
about the rules that you can. You'd have to be pretty creative to not break the rules. If we're not talking about fill puzzles, right? And I'm all about pushing the absolute limit till it stretches as far as you can go. But I'm curious to see how you would make a puzzle in a traditional.
That's true. Because I'm taking out field puzzle.
If you include field puzzles, absolutely. If you don't include them, how would you make a puzzle element to it? Unless it's like the one that we almost didn't find live on TV or live on what was that, Instagram or whatever it was.
Right. Yeah, on Periscope. I mean, that's interesting. That's kind of that's a good example, Jesse. See, you found one. And that was Owen's right. Gadget caches can be a traditional, but
yeah, we agree with that. We agree with that part for sure.
Yeah, but we're kind of eliminating.
Yeah, outside of that, I don't know how you would do it.
Yeah, we're talking about a strictly mystery type puzzle, not field puzzle, not gadget.
Ooh, look at the comment that just came in. I like that one. GSM times 2. Put that one up.
Oh yeah. Put a padlock traditional.
Yeah. So now is that a puzzle to open it, or is that a field puzzle? I guess it depends on how you solve it, right?
Depends on how you solve it.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that one.
Where you get your information.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get your information out in the field, or do you get it by solving something ahead of time and then go out because that's typically, I mean, I know people will go out and they will do a mystery cache on the fly, but typically people don't do that. Typically, right? Wouldn't you guys agree? Most people are going to solve it.
It depends on how people cache. I know people cache very differently.
I know, but most people, I would think, they pull it up on their computer at home. They try to solve the pieces of it, and when they do find it, they go through the checkers, which we'll talk about here in a minute, and then they mark the coordinates, and then they go out there sometime and do it. A traditional, I mean, Terry, you're right. Is any cache with a puzzle element a puzzle?
Well, not really.
Mostly.
I mean, it's a puzzle. It's not a puzzle cache, right? There actually technically is no puzzle cache. It's unknown or mystery cache, right?
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's also interesting.
That's what we've been playing with. But anything with a puzzle element into it is a puzzle. It's just not necessarily that icon.
Right.
So that is exactly right.
And of course, this is why there should really be a separate. There should be a jigsaw puzzle.
See, this is where we always disagree.
I know.
I don't think so. I like the way they've got those outside of challenges. That's the only thing I think should be pulled out of those, and that's for a different show. But I think all the other ones should just be lumped in there.
That's what I was going to bring up. So I have to drink. But I'm still going to talk for a second about it anyway.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because a challenge cache. Okay, so a lot of them are go find 100 of this or 100 of that or log 100 trackables.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the puzzle part of that? There's nothing.
There's no. It's. They shoved it under the mystery.
So an AR cache would be the same way then, Tom.
Which one?
An AR cache. You can just go find something with an AR cache. There's not necessarily always a puzzle element to that one, but it fits in that unknown category, that mystery category.
For now.
Well, that's true. Well, it doesn't fit anywhere right now, right? I mean, it's kind of on hiatus right now, but hopefully it'll fit there again soon when they let us do it.
I mean, and Scott is bringing up the exact point, which is it's a catch-all, and I don't like that. I don't know, and I know there's probably a big reason why, and we could ask Brian or Rock Chalk or whoever we have on next time of maybe as to why we can't add more cache types. I mean, either the game that will remain nameless, which has a billion types, or even Open Caching North America. I don't even know if that's still a thing, but they have a lot more cache types. I just want to know. I would like it to be, like I said, I'd like puzzle caches to have their own icon. I like challenge caches to have their own icon. I like mysteries to be mysteries all in themselves. But for whatever, that's fine.
I say lump them all in and just pull challenges out.
Pull challenges out.
I mean, we hadn't even talked about there's mob caches.
Oh yeah,
under the unknown type. I mean, there's a bunch of other.
Isn't inner cache fall under
inner cache? I mean I've seen inner caches as puzzles. I mean, as mystery cache, traditional multis, and letterboxes.
Right.
So I've seen inner caches as a lot of different things.
Right.
So it can, there's other, AR caches, there's challenges, there's a bunch of stuff that lump all type.
Right. Okay.
But I think we haven't talked about one type yet, and I don't know how you'd make it into a puzzle.
Which one's that? Earth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Tom, before the show. I didn't get a chance. Have you, and we'll ask the chat room too, have you guys ever seen an Earth cache? Well, let me rephrase this because everybody's going to go, well, yeah, all Earth caches are, you got to answer a question. But
by my definition, it's a puzzle.
What's that? Yeah.
By my definition, it's a puzzle.
Right. By your definition, right. But other than, has anybody seen what I would consider a true puzzle related to an Earth cache? Not just hunt down an answer or how tall is that mountain over there? Yeah, Scott, Earth caches are puzzling enough. Well, they can be, or they can.
Yeah, they're generally straightforward, traditional questions.
Right.
But I don't know why you couldn't, because there's not more than one stage. Maybe if you did, I don't know if this would even be allowed. Somebody that knows more about them than me, which is most people, should answer this question if they could. What if you answered some questions and then that answer led you to a second stage of an Earth cache? Because you can have more than one stage.
Yeah.
But you had to figure out, a puzzle from that answer.
Right.
The coordinates for the second stage. That would be a puzzle. That'd be just like a multi-stage puzzle, right? Would they allow it?
You have to try it now.
Yeah. Like if this answer is
right,
doing three choices, A, B, or C. Well, if it's B, when you get there, then you have to go to this second site.
Right.
And then you have to answer a question. If you don't get it right, you don't get the Earth cache right.
Right.
Which is so mean, but I absolutely am going to find a way to do that now.
Exactly.
I'm absolutely going to do one of those now. So,
well, that might make Earth caches different.
More fun.
Yeah, possible.
Do you think that would be against the rules?
No, because it ends in an Earth cache where you have to answer some geology
Right.
question, right?
Yeah, I like it.
And you'd know whether you got it right or not right away.
Well, not
Yeah.
necessarily.
If you find a container, you got it right.
No, I wouldn't put a container there. I would say like go to this one location. If let's say this you're measuring slope. The slope's 20 degrees, go to this location. If it's 25 degrees, go to this location. If it's 30 degrees, go to this location. And then at that next location, what formation do you see there? If they go to the wrong one, they're not going to have the right answer.
True.
That's mean. And people are going to hate me when I put that out. But now that you brought that up, I'm going to try to do it.
Jesse's new book, How to Make Enemies in 50 Blocks.
Yeah.
Derek brings up, that's a multi-cache though. That's not really a puzzle. And Geo Jerry mentioned about how if you drive around and answer questions, it's not a puzzle.
Yeah, you know what? That's true too.
Yeah.
But a puzzle could be virtual stages.
Yeah.
I think the way headquarters kind of makes a distinction between virtual stages of a multi and a puzzle is if you can solve it in the field, it's a multi. If you have to do extended research, it should be a puzzle.
Right.
Like if you have to leave, go home, figure it out, come back, that's where it kind of blurs that line, but there's no black and white on there. So
my puzzle, y'all were looking at it when I first got on.
Yes.
I gave you what, like six or 9 set of coordinates? I don't remember.
Mhm.
Yeah. How about them tomatoes?
You gonna drive by every one of those?
No.
I'm not driving by any of them.
I'm gonna use your your little puzzle that I'm gonna use this.
Did I put that on there? I need to take that off.
Yeah, you got a solution checker on there, buddy.
Which is a good segue into some of the elements of a puzzle, right?
Yeah, some of the
They
things
have added that new solution checker, which if you want to be nice.
Yes.
Now, could you put in white text, the solution checker is wrong?
Oh, no, I don't think you can.
Why? I don't see a rule against that anywhere.
Oh,
This will go in my book, How to Piss People Off.
Yeah. Let me pull up.
Nobody says the solution checker has to be correct, does it?
Oh, gosh. Jesse.
We're just talking about elements of a puzzle. Why not?
Man.
Jesse.
They can leak. They can also be at the posted coordinates. They're
All right.
not, but they can be.
I'm pulling up homegrown tomatoes right now, and we're going to test something real quick here. All right, let me share my screen.
Now that I know that, I wish I hadn't put the checker on that one.
Homegrown tomatoes.
Because you can brute force it now.
Well, duh. You didn't know that? I guess you did know that. All right, homegrown tomatoes. So we were talking about what can you do with this. So your question, Jesse, while I'm doing this, you tell me. So if I put in the wrong chords, I just put in a chord, and I tell it, obviously I'm not a robot, and I click. So you're saying if I do that, it automatically says the coordinates are not correct. So you're saying if I do put them in correctly, if I put them in correctly, then you want it to change, or you want it to not be correct, even though no, that would not be nice.
What if what if somewhere in the puzzle it said, add 3 to the end of each one?
Oh gosh, yeah, I guess I can see your point.
But I think that solution checker comes from the final coordinates that are actually listed on the cache. So
we did find something interesting.
Oh my gosh, look at that one. Owen from KC says, I have done a puzzle where the checker linked to a checker to a different cache. Then you clicked on for the answer. So he linked them. You can do anything, I think, on puzzles pretty much.
You really can.
There's a way to solve it.
We did find a little loophole in the geocaching.com one. So I'm down to 8 tries, right? Let me do another one. Let me do another one that's not right. I get down to 7. So I'm down to 7 tries, right? You see that? 7 tries.
Mm-hmm.
So let me do. Oh, you know what? It didn't come back up with the robot. Where did Mr. Robot go?
The capture robot.
Where'd CAPTCHA go? Let me go back. Yeah, let me
Now look who's trying to cheat the system.
I know. So if I come back in here, it should tell me 7 tries, right?
Yeah, it will.
No, it won't. If I tell it I'm not if I don't click on the robot thing, I go, oh man. Before I did it, the CAPTCHA came up. Maybe if I leave it completely, come back, it went back to 9, but no big deal.
See, you thought you cheated the system.
I
They
did.
hurt you.
I said 6.
Oh well.
All right, so
All right.
we'll get us back on track here. All
Yeah.
right, so we talked about the solution to the. Let's talk about some other elements of puzzles real quick. We've talked about how the puzzles can fit in each one.
Right.
We're talking about puzzle caches or mystery caches now. So the actual we're gonna play in with words, right? But
yeah, let's talk about those.
yeah, a cache with a puzzle element. So we're talking about actual puzzles. So since we have an expert on the show, we might as well talk about how to solve them.
Yes. And by the way, I want to make a note before Tom gets into that. In case anybody's interested, there is a lot, as I show
Oh gosh.
all of my FTF magazines on screen. There is a lot of good puzzle stuff. And Tom, I don't know how you do it.
Who is that guy that writes that column in there, though?
Every FTF magazine, Electric Water Boys, putting info, and you've got a lot of. I mean, you really do. You really put a lot of good information. So I applaud you, sir, for putting in. And you can find back copies, but FTF magazine is worth it just for the puzzle information. But you've almost done that from the beginning, right, Tom? I mean, I think you have.
Pretty close. So when he first started, just like Spartacus.
Yeah.
I had been in every episode or every magazine, and I pointed it out to Keith, and I think that's when he said, "Well, hey, you want to write the puzzle thing?" And yeah, sure. So it took off. So there's only been one magazine early on that I wasn't in one way or another.
But I mean, I hang on to all of them unless I gave away a couple, and now I regret that I gave away a couple. But I mean, every one of these has got some great information.
So I write the article part. I don't put anything else on that page.
Right.
And there was one of them early on that he put a puzzle in there, and that actually became a real puzzle.
Oh, somebody used it?
No, he did.
Oh, he did.
But
Okay.
he put it in the magazine to start with, and we didn't go look for it. And he said, "Hey, you should solve that thing and go look for it." And sure enough, it was like 20, 30 miles from here. And after we found it, he published it.
Yeah. Such great stuff. Okay. So.
And I don't know where Spartacus is either. So the first thing I do is grab that thing, head for the bathroom, and
try to figure out where
lock the door. And I'm looking for Spartacus.
There you go.
I can never find Spartacus. I'm terrible at that.
I find him every month. I just
Do you really?
It says where the solution was for last month, and that's where he is.
There you go. Yeah. Perfect.
Which is how I solve some puzzles too. But anyway, we'll save that for a little bit later.
Yeah. That's good. Okay. So as far as which we want to talk about puzzle checkers real quick. Is that our next topic? Is that where I'm at?
No, I think yeah.
Talk about something else first? Okay.
There's a few different puzzle checkers, and everybody has their favorite, I guess. But do you have a preference, Tom, on which besides the one that's naturally in there?
I like Certitude.
Oh, Bounce is asking. Absolutely. By the way, yes.
Definitely.
One article sent in too. So
yeah, Keith's in the chat room, by the way. So Keith, if you could put up if you put in the chat a link to where Bounce can send you where you would want him to send in an article to. So
absolutely. So
you
the
can
other
send articles in
as well, right?
I was gonna say you could send in articles. You can send in, hey Tom, look, how do you work on this kind of puzzle?
Yeah.
I'll make
There you
an
go.
article out of it. I'm not
Right.
going to solve it for you on the thing, but
So it's there. You go. Put that one up there, Gary.
Stories at ftfgeocacher.com.
Cool.
There you go. For anybody out there who wants to send a story to Keith, published in the
Because I know people in the chat room are dying to hear some puzzle information from Tom. I'm going to keep pushing.
keep going. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So with the checkers, do you have a preference on what kind of checker you use besides for Certitude? Why do you use that?
well, I haven't used them. I like that one because you can either do coordinates or you can do a phrase, and that seems to be the pretty popular thing in my area.
Yeah, I like that.
Putting up a
I like
picture
that.
and put up a picture and identify who's in the picture, and even those can be tricky because, like, if they put up an actor, well, what is it? Their real name or is it their screen name or
Mm-hmm.
character in a movie or what? So
Okay, so now
back in the old day, though, remember, you got to remember this: before checkers, your checker was, "Hey, Mr. CO, did I get this right?"
yeah,
And hope that you get somebody to respond.
yeah.
Or you go on Google Earth and figure out if that chord's even somewhat valid.
Well, and nowadays that's considered an additional login requirement, right? So it would kind of be taken out of there. That's why they put that checker in there.
Oh, sure.
Get in touch with the
Well,
CO.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that. Oh, yeah, you mean asking the CO, or are you talking about or using Google Earth?
No, I'm talking about emailing the CO to find out.
Oh, right. Yeah, I think that's wouldn't be allowed, right? In their rules.
Right.
I mean,
pretty much. There are some exceptions to that, but yeah, pretty much that's why they added that in there. So, so now that we're 50 minutes into the show, let's ask the big question: how do you solve a puzzle?
Well, the first thing you got to do is look at it. Yeah, I mean, lots of people just put puzzles on their ignored list from the word go, and it's like, no, you got to at least look at it,
Mm-hmm.
and then to say it's over my head but yeah, you got to look at it and then use your brain.
So how do you solve puzzles then? Do you just look at it, jump right in? Do you employ other methods?
It depends. So thinking back to like Geo Woodstock, the puzzles that were right there showing up at the where Woodstock was at, I didn't figure any of those out. But get just a little outside of that area. I can't remember the cashier's name that put them out, but he had all kind of word puzzles, and I just got on a roll with those. I solved like 60 of them one evening. I mean, it wasn't Googling anything. It wasn't using a toolbox. It was just logic stuff, or look at numbers, or do some of them were do some math. But
So solve it by yourself, and then brute force. Brute force is one I use a lot as well.
yeah, y'all showed me that one earlier.
Yep, solved one of your puzzles that way.
solved one of yours with that.
What else?
You should
What
go
are
back and
some other
listen.
good strategies? Some general strategies.
Well, I always say Google is your friend.
Mm-hmm.
There's one I'm thinking of by GeoCoin Fest, and I can't remember the exact title. It's like AU30 or AU130. That's not the thing, but it says like it's a few feet from that, and it's like, okay, well, what is it? So Google it, and it brings up what it is, and then okay, from there it's easy.
Google solves a lot of puzzles.
Google will help with a lot. But you do have to know what to Google sometimes too. That can get kind of tricky.
Yeah. So if you're stuck on one, is it considered okay to reach out to the CO?
Yeah, I've done that. Or somebody, I did that a couple weeks ago. I had one out towards Midland, Texas, that I've looked at it for 2 or 3 years, could not figure that thing out. And then he gave me a perfect clue. He did not give the thing away. I still had to Google stuff and figure it out. But once I got it, it was a piece of cake. But it was just a whole series of numbers. And it's like, okay, well, what do you do with this?
So reaching out to the CO is okay. You don't have any problem with that. What about you, Gary? Reaching out to the CO?
Oh, sure. Usually I get forget it. Go work on it. But I think the other thing is asking people who do a lot of puzzles. One of our Memphis, our Motley crew, our geocaching Motley crew that we get together. One of those guys, Redicer, he's very much into puzzles. So I usually will get on there with him and we'll work it together, or he'll work it. He's really good. And this is something I think that even Tom's mentioned before on the show. And that is, you've got to just go find, start somewhere. And I liked the idea, Tom, you mentioned before, and that is stop looking in your own area. Start looking on all of geocaching.com and find lots of puzzles and just go through them and figure out, which ones look like you might be able to solve them. And you learn so much. I think we get caught up in there's a puzzle down the street from me and I can't figure it out. So I've spent 8 hours on it now and I give up and I don't want to do puzzles anymore.
Right. Don't give up that easy. There's many ways to go about it. Right.
Right. And the other thing too is I think it's more important to do a multitude of them and to go look at lots of different puzzles to get an idea. You might not be able to solve them all, but you need to kind of look at several. And there's so many different tools. And I was going to ask you also, Tom, is that, and you too, Memphis, do you guys see puzzles evolving more to other things? Because for a while there, it seemed like everybody wanted to hide coordinates in a picture. And nowadays, I don't think the newer puzzles that I'm seeing around are not necessarily using that
steganography.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of steganography?
I do sometimes. And so one of the things I do, and before I get to that, I do want to bring up, and we can get to that in a second, but Burnt Turtles brought up a question about what do you think about events where people get together to solve puzzles? I think that's perfectly okay. They're getting together with their friends and working together to solve puzzles. I don't see any problem with that at all.
We used to have a monthly one where we wouldn't solve it for everybody, but you'd get them pointed down the right direction.
Now, were you going over your own puzzles or just whatever they brought in?
Whatever they brought in.
See, yeah, I haven't been to one of those. We do have those in our area, but if 4 or 5 people want to get together and try to solve a really hard puzzle in an area that they can't solve, that's geocaching. That's hanging out with friends. I mean, you go and find a traditional together, right? So why would you not get together and solve a puzzle together? I think that's perfectly okay and perfectly within the spirit of geocaching. Now, getting together and just handing out puzzle solutions.
Yeah, I don't like that.
That's not okay. That doesn't sound good to me. Like, hey, I know all these. I'll trade you for these. You're cheating yourself with that, right? That wouldn't be my flavor. But
yeah,
getting together to solve them together, that sounds like a pretty good deal.
So what if you're in the car? You got 3 or 4 other people with you, and you're just going cache to cache, and you come up to a puzzle you've solved, but nobody else in the car has.
I don't even lie. For me, now, should you? I don't know. But if I'm in the car and somebody else has solved it, I'm not going to stay in the car and not go sign that cache. That's stupid. I'm not even considering that.
I'm having everybody go with me, and we're going to go find it. But they're going to have to suffer through me telling them what all I did to solve that thing.
Now, see, that's perfectly fair. But I'm not going to stay in the car and not go, oh, I haven't solved this one. I'm not going to go sign that. That's silly. Some people may do that. I don't want to sign that one because whatever. That's not me. I don't know what the rules are on that. What about you, Gary?
No, it's perfectly okay because you're part of the team. You're there.
Right.
You, at the very least, you might help them find it. I mean, that's part of the team. I mean,
So let me ask you this then, just to flip it on there, because if they get caught up in this, if you go to find a traditional, one person finds it first. Do they hide it and never let anybody else know where it is? No.
Right.
They all walk over there and sign it. So that's the same thing.
There are some who do it that way. I've heard of places where they do it that way, but I don't do it that way.
Do it without anybody knowing. Like if I spot it, I'll just keep pretending like I'm searching. Absolutely.
we do that. We'll do the huckle buckle.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not
Walk
going to go.
away.
Oh, you can't sign it because you didn't find it. I found it
No,
first. That'd be
no.
silly.
No, that's
It's when you get caught up that far when you're trying to do the right thing. It's supposed to be just having fun. It is a game. It is for fun. If you're that uptight about stuff, you probably want to go play like Pokemon or do something else. I don't know.
yeah.
Geocaching is not that clean. It's just not. Anybody that says they never do anything like that would be silly. I just can imagine that.
Well, I mean, if I solve a puzzle, I'm going to grab Cheryl and drag her along with me to go look for it because I don't have a clue where the final is. I mean, the one you were looking at before the show, the 17K version 2.
Yeah.
Well, version 1 was like 15 feet up a tree. And you had to get my fat butt up a cedar tree, and when it's blowing in the wind, that gets into a safety thing. I don't want to do something like that by myself.
Yeah. On the absolutely on the other end of that, if we go and somebody solved the puzzle and they say, hey, it's really neat and we're going to sign the final, I may still go try to solve it later. I've solved way more puzzles than I'll ever go find because, like, when I went down for surgery, I couldn't get out caching for a little while. So I would play on geocaching.com and just find a bunch of puzzles all over the place that I'll probably never get to just to get practice playing puzzles. And it's free puzzles online, right? So with solutions and real world checkers and stuff. So I don't feel bad about that at all.
All right. Let me ask you boys about these right here.
Okay.
And you guys have Chloe Long's How to Puzzle Cache?
I've seen it. I don't have it.
I have it. And I wish I bought it when it first came out. I got a signed one. I had him sign it. And I wish I had the spiral version.
Yes.
So if you're going to buy it, buy the spiral version.
Get the spiral version because then you want to open it up and use it. It's a little hard. You can take the non-spiral bound version and go to FedEx and they will rebind it. A FedEx office, a real full office. So we're not.
I've got to get that book. I haven't gotten it yet, but I've been wanting to get it. I'd put it on my Christmas list.
So that book will not solve every puzzle that's out there, but it'll teach you the mentality you need to solve most of them.
So
I'm not going to get it if it doesn't solve all the puzzles. I thought it solved every puzzle. Forget that book. I'm not getting that thing.
What about this site? What is this? Talk about this one, Tom. Rumpkin.
So Rumpkin, when I first started caching, all the puzzles around my area, a lot of them anyway, were ciphers.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of hit on it. Things going in swings here.
Yep.
So I would go to Rumpkin. There's a thing on there for ciphers, and it did most of them. Now there's lots of other places that do ciphers, but that's my go-to one, or the first one I go to anyway.
How about geocachingtoolbox.com?
And Geocaching Toolbox has a lot of cipher stuff, and it has some that Rumpkin doesn't. Does some other things too.
Cool.
What's the one? Is that the app on the phone too?
The app on the does it have one?
IGCT.
Yes, I got that on my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep that link or that app. Yeah, that's a cool app.
That is a good one for projecting points, and it's got puzzle help in there too. So
sometimes it's good to have the good old compass.
Mm-hmm.
Just we don't use a compass very often, but there's a compass.
Can you use that geocaching, or is that a thing for geocaching? I didn't.
A lot of times nowadays you get projected waypoints, and a lot of times you can just do that through Cachly.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sometimes though, it's kind of cool to have an actual. What about that site, PhysiCalc?
PhysiCalc will do projections, and that was before I used that a lot before Cachly came out, and I would do projections to the house. It does distance between stuff. It converts coordinates. And the guy who wrote it is the guy who the Fizzy Challenge is made for.
Oh, cool. And before we get too far away from it, I do want to mention also, you're talking about sites to go to practice. Geocaching puzzleoftheday.blogspot.com is a great site to go. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but I think the way they do it is Monday's the easiest and it gets harder during the week.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it goes from easy to, don't jump on there and start trying to do the Friday blogs, because I think those are the hard ones.
And they jump all over the place. They're
Yeah.
all over the world.
Yeah, they do kind of go in different places. So
Is it? So I've heard of that site, but I haven't been on it. So is that actual puzzles from caches, or is it just puzzle like the ones on caches?
No, it's actual caches and puzzles.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
And
Yeah.
some of them are active, some of them are archived. So
That's a good place for puzzle help.
So, if I may, now let me ask Tom about this one, because we'll say rants. He loves this puzzle cache. It's now archived, but I want to know why he loves this one so much. What is it about 9 + 9 = 12 that you really like? By the way, if people want to follow along at home or wherever you are, GC15 X file nature query.
Good job.
9 + 9 = 12. I'm trying to memorize it, but
okay, well, let's ask you the easy question. Does 9 + 9 = 12?
no, or does it?
Yes, it does.
It does. Well, I don't know how it would possibly, but somehow I've been told that it does. How does 9 + 9 = 12?
Because in decimal, 9 + 9 is 18, but in hexadecimal, 9 + 9 is 12.
Dang it.
That tells you exactly where to go from there.
Hexadecimal. Do you still see a lot of those, or?
I don't see many, and you were going to bring up one or two of mine that had the which I don't know which one you were going to bring up, whether it was Stalag 17 or the
Stalag 7. I didn't want to, but those
you
are
can bring
active.
either one. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You still got to solve them.
All right, let me bring up Stalag 17. While I'm doing that, you guys talk amongst yourselves about something else while I grab
So, Tom, what about Facebook groups?
I've seen some of those, and I kind of avoid them. I mean, I'm in some of them, but I don't get active to them because some of them really do. Some of them throw the answers out, and I don't want that. I want a hint. I don't want the answer.
Right. Well, I guess it depends on how long you've been working on it, right?
Well, I had one early on that I probably worked on for 1.5 years before I solved it. I mean, it wasn't a constant 1.5 years. It would, I'd look at it and get stumped and put it down, and a month or two later go back, look at it again. And one day I looked at it just right, and the answer just popped right out at me. But
so if you get one like that, let's say it's in your area or maybe even not in your area, and you're working on solving it, do you bookmark it in a list of like puzzles you're working on, or how do you go back to it?
I haven't done that in a while. But I think I have a bookmark that said puzzles I want to solve, but I haven't put any in there in a while.
Do you solve puzzles? Because I know you really like puzzles. Do you solve them all the time, or do you go through phases?
I go through phases, but like for Woodstock, I sat down and I know I did at least 60. I didn't do them all at once, but I did a good chunk of them at one sitting. When it's too hot to cache like it is now here, or when it gets too cold in another 3 or 4 months here, too cold to me anyway. I'd rather sit inside and solve puzzles and then wait till the weather's good.
You got a solution checker on this one too.
But this one, you're not going to brute force this one.
Can't brute force this one. Cache is hidden in the green belt between the coordinates posted above and the coordinates for its HEP to be square, which is another one of yours, GC1, GJDF. Terrain isn't so bad. Puzzle may get you a big headache. You'll find the cache at, and you give most of the chords. Is that, I like that. Or at least, you're not going to be so mean as to give bogus, like it starts with a 1. Is that?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. That'd be mean if you told somebody that it was there and whatever.
Hey,
so for those playing the home game, if I remember right on this one, though, it's like that 1C it's not a 1 and then a C. It's 1C.
Oh, 1C, like a hexadecimal type thing.
Yeah, except for this isn't hexadecimal.
Oh, ooh.
So, any other, besides like Google and Wikipedia, obviously Google is your friend. Any other sites that you find yourself going to or tools you find yourself going to regularly, Tom?
I guess we're moving on.
Really, Google, I do a lot with Google, but yeah, because the ciphers, I'm going to Rumpkin and maybe this geocaching toolbox is a backup, but I do a lot with just Google. You can find a lot there if you know how to search it.
You got people in the chat room furiously taking notes of every tip that you give. So I'm going to make sure we milk as many as we can from you. That's why I keep pushing you. Some people, puzzles are one of those things I've found that people either love them or they hate them and they're scared of them. And it's hard for people to move from one camp to the other. But sometimes when they get that one tip that really starts rolling them, that's when they move to the other camp and they start liking them again. So.
Well, and you're going to find ones that you're really good at and others you're not. Like I said, the ones for Woodstock, right there at ground zero, I couldn't figure any of them out. Got a couple miles away, and I got on a roll doing word puzzles and logic stuff. And I remember back to one puzzle, this is years ago, that I was looking at it, could not figure this thing out for nothing. And Cheryl walked into the room. I said, "Hey, can you solve this thing?" And she looked at it for a second, said, "Yep," and walked off.
Oh, that's so mean.
Oh, that was
Way
mean.
to go, Cheryl.
So,
Yeah.
You don't have to. Well, actually, you do have to admit this because you're on the show. But Tom and Gary both. Have you found puzzles that would maybe in ways that would maybe be considered unethical? And I'll give you an example of what I've done. I've accidentally found a puzzle final and traced it back to find out what puzzle it was.
Reverse engineer it.
Yep, sure did. I looked at a good spot and I was going to hide a cache there, and lo and behold, there was already a container there. So I pulled out the log and looked at the names on there and go, I'll click on their names.
Right.
See. Oh, this is the last one they found altogether. Looks like this is the puzzle it kind of checked out. So it's close.
You said you went then and figured out the puzzle.
I've done that 2 or 3 times when I've been trying to hide a cache and I find a cache there because it's a good spot. So apparently I wasn't the only one that thought so. It's been a puzzle. I found a multi that way before too. Now, out of curiosity, I went and played with the puzzle later.
Yeah.
But I already claimed that Joker, so
right.
It is what it is. I wouldn't have not claimed it if I couldn't figure out the puzzle.
Yeah. I've heard of people that do that because they wanted to start in that point, but they looked on a map and they were like, why is there a hole right in this very spot? Like you could put a cache right in the middle, but all of the places around it have caches. And sure enough, usually there's a final there of some type.
Well, in areas of high saturation,
Yep.
Sometimes it's obvious where you can't hide a cache, right?
Right. Or that there's something there. There's something hidden there.
Well, and I think Gary, you and I have both done it. I don't know if Tom's done it, but I've lifted up a lamp skirt just randomly when I parked and there happened to be a cache under it.
Yeah, I've done
Especially if there's a Munzie above it, I'm gonna lift that skirt because there's a good chance there could be a cache under there too.
Oh yeah, I told you guys about the time I found one like that where, because Susan's always telling me, lift that skirt over there and see if there's a cache in it. It's like, honey, there's not a cache in every skirt lift. It's like, sure enough, I lifted up, boop, out comes the camoed pill bottle. It's like,
and you claimed it, didn't you?
Well, sure I did. I found it, right? Actually, ironically, it was just a traditional. It had been archived. The person,
Did you still claim it then?
Yeah, it was geo trash at that point, obviously. But
hold on now, you haven't answered the question yet. Did you claim the archive cache?
I did. It wasn't locked.
Good job, sir. Good job.
Dude, I claimed first to find on an archive cache.
That's awesome.
I seriously did. I was on a multi, and I came to the 3rd stage of this thing, and I couldn't find the cache. And I call a buddy of mine, and because I found a cache that had a blank log, and I'm thinking, dude, I'm finding this big container and there's a blank log, and I said, I know this isn't right. This is 4th stage or something. He said, yeah, it's a little foam canister, and I look about a foot higher than this rock pile in the wall was a film canister that gave me the coordinates for the 4th stage. So I thought, okay, let's figure this out. And It took a while, but I figured out where the original cache was. A guy had got the coordinates wrong, and so nobody ever found it until I did. So I logged the first find on it.
Love it.
Okay,
First of mine on a zombie cache. That's great.
zombie cache.
Well, that's
all
not
right.
actually a zombie cache unless the guy's gone. What I call a zombie cache, like we talked before, is when the owner is gone but the cache is still alive. It's a zombie account.
Zombie account, right?
Yeah.
Which then would consider then you've got zombie caches from the zombie account,
Right.
All right. Let me ask you guys.
Hold on. Let's go back to nefarious methods of doing a puzzle.
You were going down this is a bad rabbit trail here.
No, this is a good question. So
Okay.
reverse where it goes. There's two ways to do them.
There's only two ways if you stick with that one that's spread through the whole country, not if you write your own.
So you're talking about brute forcing the
No, there's a cheating way to do it,
cheat way in the answer.
which we're not going to give out on the air, but there is a way to plug it in and cheat and get the answer.
Okay.
That's what you're talking about, right, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want to do
That's
that.
only if you use that standard template, though. That's not
Oh,
if you use
if you don't use the standard template, if you make your own somehow.
Yeah, it didn't work.
All right. Now I'm going to get you guys back on track. Like you're trying to keep me from going down rabbit trails. So,
Although that would be a good show. All the tricky ways you can find stuff that's not technically. That's the gray caching show. We may have to have a good one. That is for another
That's
show.
for another show.
That's right.
do you guys, when you see one, do you see a puzzle cache and you know something about the owner? Do you then at least start with the idea that you probably know something about the owner, therefore you probably know something about the puzzle cache?
Sometimes.
I wouldn't say it's so much to know about the owner, but you know that their style is stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, their style.
Do you find that you're right most of the time, or
Not me.
well, not yeah, you don't have a style.
No, I mean, that can give you a hint sometimes.
I tend to find, yeah.
But a lot of times that may also lead you down the red herring as well. So
It can, but I think many times, and I don't know, Tom, about you to answer this as well, but I find that owners who do certain puzzles will same song, second verse kind of thing, where or same theme. They have a lot that they have certain themes that they like, and I tend to find that they like to use that theme over and over. Well, not over and over, but I'll find that the owner will do similar things, and I can use that to my advantage.
yeah, and I think that's okay if you're putting them out in different areas, or if you just like a certain theme. Like if Sudoku is your thing, and you're a cache owner, that's your cache, right? You keep your caches. I think it can be either way, but it does give you a hint on how to solve them if you're kind of going down that path. Or a series, right? They may do a series of them.
Well, yeah, that's a little different though, because you're trying to do. And Sudoku is kind of, in my estimation, isn't really. I guess it's a puzzle, but it's not really. It's like doing a crossword. I mean, or a jumble. I mean, you're not really.
There's variations of those things too. So
yeah. Absolutely. And I've seen several of those as puzzle caches.
Yeah, and to be honest, I kind of like that because I kind of know where I'm going. The ones I hate, and maybe I shouldn't say it that way, but the ones I hate a lot are the ones where I stare at it and I go, I have no idea. I have no idea where we're going. Or
okay, that's not where I thought you were going with that. So that's okay. I thought you were going to talk about the ones where you stare at till you're cross-eyed and then the little picture comes out.
Oh, those are terrible.
I hate those.
I farm those out. I'll tell you right now, I do not solve those. I send one of Cheryl's friends and here, tell me what this thing says, because
I kind of like that.
I'm not going to do it.
So
No, the ones I'm talking about are like you guys have seen it where
you don't even know where to start.
yeah, you don't know.
You might as well not even pulled it up because you have no idea where to start.
And I'll start. I go back and think about all the things Tom's taught me over the years, and I'll go, okay, I need to go look at this, or I'm gonna go look at, I'm gonna go look in the. And I hate going. I'll be honest. I don't like caches where I have to go hunt in the. What am I trying to say? The web page, like
hidden in the code.
Yeah, hidden in the HTML or something.
I have stuff in the code a lot. It's not always necessarily how to solve the puzzle. Sometimes it's just stuff to amuse me.
I hate that. I took one. I tell you why, and I guess people get bad experiences. I had one I spent forever on, and when I finally, it was hidden in the HTML, and it was coded. It was also coded in the HTML. It was coded.
Yep.
And then I had to figure out how to get the code or decipher it. And I went through all this work to decipher it. And when I got it all deciphered, it says, "Congratulations, you have found my red herring on this puzzle cache. Thank you so much." It goes on, thank you so much for finding it. And good luck with finding the real coordinates. It's like, dude, I am so out on your cache. I don't ever want to see your cache again. I don't want to see any of your caches again.
So, and I bet all three of us have a different answer to this, but so that's a terrible puzzle for you. What makes a good puzzle for you?
For me, and we'll need to start wrapping up tonight. But
and then Tom, I definitely want to hear your answer to this.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear Tom's for sure, because you probably want to hear mine. Mine is, I don't mind doing some work to figure out the puzzle or to figure out the coordinates, but I want to at least have some semblance of like the Stalag 17 one. I mean, you gave me sort of an idea of where to go, or at least start. I mean, 1C. Now I need to figure out what that might be. And I know that it has to end in a coordinate. I know that certain thing. I know roughly where you live. So, I mean,
so that 1C is probably 29.
Right. Exactly.
Now, how do you get 29 out of 1C?
But see, I don't feel bad about that. I like that because
I got a place to start.
I got a place to start. I just need a place to start, and I'm okay with the rest. I'm okay with the. I've struggled with. There's one. Of course, it was fun when I finished it, but there was a Simon, and you had to click and do the Simon buttons.
Yeah.
And it was a booger because it was kind of old school website, and so one tiny mistake and if you click just a little bit late, or if you click and it doesn't take your click, it wouldn't work. And but I like the one you talked about, the one you had, Jesse, where you basically play the little game. I like the ones that have games in them. Those are fine.
Yeah, it's something different, right?
Yeah.
But
all right, we'll go over to Tom now with your question.
Yep, Tom, what do you say?
I like ones that make me think, make me learn something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with the LPC kind of hide, but if you make it a better hide, I love that even more.
That's true.
Absolutely. So to echo Tom and Gary both, I kind of agree with both of you. One, I want a place to start. I hate when I can't even get started. That's frustrating. So give me a place to start and make it as hard as it can be, but still solvable, right? Not as hard as it can be. That's not right. As hard as I can handle it, but still solvable. And then the ones that really get favorite points for me is when they put some effort into the container at the end as well.
Right.
Because too often you see an awesome puzzle and then a pill bottle under a bush. I love when they spend time on both ends of it, like a cool final container and a cool puzzle to get there. That's somebody that's really done a bunch of work and done something good. But if it's at a cool location, even better, right? I know not everything can be an amazing location, or we wouldn't have as many caches as we have. But, if you can combine all those things, cool location, cool container, and cool puzzle, how would you not give that a favorite point? I mean, that's a winner right there.
Absolutely.
So it's killing me. I got to tell this story.
Go ahead.
So there was a puzzle cache here called Avocados Are Green. And it's one I did not have a clue how to get started on for the longest time, because all it had on the cache page was a big green box. It's like, what the heck do I do with this thing? So finally I saved a picture and I started playing with the hue and the tint and all that stuff. And about 2 hours later, I finally got it where I could vaguely see the coordinates in that thing. Got it and went and found it. So I don't know, sometime later,
cool.
we're at a puzzle cache class thing in a library.
Yep.
And the guy teaching the class brought that puzzle up. And I thought, oh, yeah, I saw that. It took me. And in about that time, he shows how to solve that thing in about 2 seconds using paint and just fill with a different color. And
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
I remembered how long it took me, and then he did it in like 2 seconds.
Right.
That sucked, but
So that we were joking before the show, but that's a perfect example of it. I said that all puzzles suck unless I've solved them. So for me, I hate them, and I can't like walk away. I have so much trouble just walking away from them.
Oh,
But once I solve it, I'm like, oh, that was easy. Anybody could have done that.
yeah.
But up until that
all-
point,
they're
I'm
all
like,
easy
it
when
is
you know
the
the
devil
answer.
until I solve it.
There's a few that I'm with you, but there are a few that come to mind even today that I don't want to go back. I don't want to mess with it anymore. I mean, there's one that's over in the Plano area. I might get Terraviators to help me because I've stared at that thing, and you can see it's like a bird picture.
Mhm.
And in the bottom of the bird picture, it may not be related, but it looks like, because I've looked up the picture online and it's not the same. And it looks like possibly Morse code, but I can't get it to come up as Morse code. But yet, there's something in that. It looks like there's something in the picture, but then I don't know if there's something in the picture, but maybe there is something in the picture, but I can't tell.
You're gonna
But I
go back again. You're gonna go back until you solve it.
No, I'm not. I've left it. I'm not going back. I can't go back. I can't. I won't.
It's funny.
I'll get the GC sub from him and solve it in 2 minutes.
Probably.
That'll make him mad.
Well, and I'll finish with the one quick story too about the one I've told you about, Jesse, where the final was, it hadn't been found in a long time, and the final was in a tree supposedly, and we were ready to climb this tree, but the problem was the tree was down. We couldn't find the cache on the downed tree. So we asked the CO, we said, hey, we found the spot, and we were like, confirm the spot. And then it was like, hey, can we get, can you fix the cache for us to find, or what do you want us to do here? And he just sort of wouldn't do anything. And it was so frustrating because Redicer had done all this work where this is very evil. I don't know if you even can do this anymore. You guys tell me. He hid 3 caches. He had 2 traditionals and he had 1 puzzle. The 2 traditionals had in it a hidden, wasn't really hidden. It was he had the coordinates in the comments of those 2 traditionals, and he put them in such a way that they were on certain days, and that's how Redicer found it, because he goes, oh, these days he posted a note on these particular days.
Oh yeah.
And so it corresponded to the day that he placed the puzzle cache.
No, it's perfectly legal.
And it did a deal where it lined up. I'm going to smack my microphone here, but you've seen these where they'll line up and you got to follow where they cross.
Yeah.
And wherever they crossed was a spot with a clump of trees. We got the clump of trees. Like I said, there's like, we looked and so
I think that's perfectly legal. I don't know why you wouldn't do that. I've seen them hidden in
we can't
trackables that used to be in the cache.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. Now, I guess my problem is the fact that we solved this puzzle, but I can't claim it because I can't get we can't get the container because the container's smashed under a tree that fell.
It's just like any cache that they
I
haven't
guess.
maintained, right? It's just more frustrating when it's a puzzle because
Yeah,
you do a lot of work to it. Yeah.
right. We did all that work and we can't claim it.
But it sounds like half the multis I've tried to find
I know.
in my life. So
I don't know if we went back and because this is a good example of where you could put basically needs maintenance. I mean, be honest, we really not trying to be mean about it, but we just want to say, hey,
see, we've talked about this before, and this another rabbit hole, but that's not being mean. That needs maintenance is what you're supposed to do.
Especially in this case. I mean, we weren't trying to be, we were ready. I mean, we were all ready to do what we needed to do, and we couldn't. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So as we wrap up tonight, let's go around the room and we'll do some final thoughts. But that was my final thought. So, Jesse, I guess let's start with you, and then we'll wrap up with the puzzler himself.
Okay, so I am not an expert puzzler. I love to do puzzles, and I do them in phases, and I get frustrated and not do them. But I would say kind of my final tips. We didn't get into a lot of the stuff tonight because we could talk about puzzles. Puzzles is such a broad category. You could talk about
it. It is. You're right.
I would say use brute force if you have to. Just try a bunch of solutions if you can't figure it out. Use the entire page when you're solving one or hiding one.
Oh, definitely.
Remember that there's tons of stuff on that page that you can have access to, both sides. Then if you're having trouble, if you're stuck with a puzzle, think about the CO or find other puzzles that match that, either by the CO or by other people, because he probably copied somebody else too. Go out there and do it. Work backwards if possible. If it ends up in coordinates, there's probably a limited number of things that you got to do. So if those line up, work that. And then if you have trouble with puzzles, just get on when you can't cache and do puzzles outside of your area. There's no pressure. It doesn't matter if you solve it or not, because you're not going to get the cache. And the more practice you get, the better you'll get at it.
Yep.
And just in general, that'll help you out.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Okay. Tom?
Yeah, first thing you got to look at them. Google's your friend, and look in other areas. Maybe not around Southeast Houston, around NASA, but but look in other areas, because you're gonna find somebody who's got puzzles you can solve.
That website, Tom. What we've talked about a little bit was about the geocaching puzzle of the day. Is that something also?
They'll email you a puzzle every day.
Right. That's cool.
Or during the week, whatever.
Yeah. I agree with you, Jesse, that we need to try to encourage people to do. And I liked your idea, because go look in other areas, because I think we get too focused on the caches around us.
Yeah.
And we get frustrated.
Well, and
or the other way, you solve them all in your area and you think you're a genius, and then you look at somebody else's area and you don't have a clue.
Right.
And I think what we were kind of playing around with, we were playing with the, kind of the semantic game at the beginning, but for people that are afraid of puzzle caches, you're probably already doing a lot of elements of a lot of these puzzles already in all the other cache types, right?
Right.
You probably already are better at puzzles than you think you are. So definitely try some. Start with easy ones and then move up, knowing that not everyone that's marked as easy is actually going to be easy. So
yeah,
just keep moving on. Try some other ones and keep trying them.
Yep. All right. So next week, Project GC Advanced Show with Super Nate. He's been out in California doing some cool caching, and I think he found his milestone. We'll have to talk about that next week. In 2 weeks, we're going to talk about what's the latest with 3D printing with Antaeus and C. Nelson.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that'll be good. Find out what they have learned now that 3D printing geocaching has been out for a little bit. Mm-hmm. So we want to know about that. And in 3 weeks, Cachly 5.2, we're going to talk a little bit about that with Nick from Cachly. And as I say that, I do want to mention also that we're going to be doing a show about Android. So I don't want people to think we're skipping over Android this year. We're not. We're going to do a show about CGeo.
So, and even if you're an iPhone user, it ends up usually being a pretty good show too. I learned a lot from that, and I've never
Right.
I've been an iPhone the whole time, so that is still a good show.
Yeah. When we did GC Droid, that was a good show. We're going to do a CGO show. I think it's actually the week. If it's not the week after, Cashly, it's the week after that. So we got them almost not. I don't know if they're back to back or close to being back to back. I think they're not, because in 4 weeks, I think we're at Going Caching doing a show. So, but yeah. So there you go. FTF Magazine has a lot of cool stuff in it. As we mentioned, Electric Water Boy, you're willing to take a few questions every now and then, right, Tom?
Yeah, I'll take whatever you want to send me because I haven't had any.
He's an addict. He is an addict. That's great.
No, I haven't had any questions. I think I've had one the entire time. But so yeah, send me something. I'll make a article out of it.
There you go. Perfect. All right. So there you go. And here is our outro.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed the show tonight, as well as our new format. Please email us your comment at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify, as well as at the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below and ring that bell notification so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. Get them involved with us in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, go geocaching.
Go. Good night, everybody.
Not all.
Bye.